Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to the Operation Hill 100 Heart channel where we do what? We focus on healing, humor, and hot motherfucking topics. If you are here, you are now logged into the healing section of my YouTube channel. If you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Afterwards, hit the notification bell. Afterwards, hit the thumbs up. Stick around because we're about to read this Dear Deja. And once we read this Dear Deja and I give my commentary, I want you to then drop in the comment section and let me know your feedback. Once again, I want to hear it all. Don't text it to me. Don't email it to me. Drop down in the comment section and give it to me, okay? I do not delete or debate. I told you guys I'm only here to discuss. All right, let's get it going. Dear Deja, I have 6 kids. 5 of them I decided to have 3 years apart, and then, like an idiot, I waited 10 years later to have another one. My change of life baby. I love him. I promise I do. But he's definitely the child that has given me a run for my money. Well, at 18 years old, this young man has decided to get one of the young ladies in our neighborhood pregnant. These two have been up and down, back and forth since they was about 14 years old, so this didn't shock me. The young lady gave birth this past January. And when I tell you my grandbaby is a doll, I mean she's a doll. But these new in-laws, I cannot with them. My son waited until the young lady was pregnant to, according to him, get his lick back. And since the day she walked out of labor and delivery, they have been fighting like cats and dogs. I don't get into their young people drama, but this time she stabbed my son and he allegedly pulled out a weapon on her. This has gone too far. I want to go and have a conversation with the young lady's mom, grandmother to grandmother, but I'm a 61-year-old granny and she's a 33-year-old GlamMa who seems to be planted right in the middle of these kids' drama. I have children older than her that if I let handle it, I don't know what direction it will go in. But if I go and try to talk to her and she's disrespectful towards me, they're going to have to eventually step in. And once again, I don't know what direction it will go in at that point. I'm torn on how to approach this, but I need to do so ASAP because things are getting serious. Any advice you can share on how to approach this, I would really appreciate. Thanks in advance. Signed, a grandma versus a GlamMa. Woo, child. Things are gonna get easier. Well, congratulations, Grandma, on your new doll baby of a grandbaby. I'm so happy to hear this. Let's run it from the top. You shared that the young lady and your son have been up and down for at least the past 4 years, right? So shouldn't you and Grandma already have a rapport? Because normally when young people are entangled, right, after a certain amount of time, the folks around them, they get a whiff of the fact that, they're entangled with somebody else. And then contingent upon how long this entanglement has lasted, normally you get kind of familiar with the family. So if your son and this young lady has been entangled for the last 3-4 years, as you put it, shouldn't you and GlamMa already have some form of a relationship? Or let me ask this question, or you guys have tried to have some form of a relationship and you've seen that it can go left. So you don't have a relationship. I would like to know, right? Because that's a while for young people to be entangled with one another. And now, very much attached to each other because there's a child involved. So you and this woman never had any dialogue ever? But let's hold that thought. We'll come back to that. Let's put a pin in that. Let's go back to baby boy. Like you said, baby boy can be a little rambunctious from the sounds of things, but that's the person that you're responsible for. So let's start by having some dialogue with him. And it seems like you guys have a good rapport because he told you that when she got pregnant, he was going to get his lick back, whatever that may mean. I'm guessing prior to the pregnancy, he felt he was being put through the ringer, and he said, okay, well, let me get my ringer putting on and get it started, right? Which is an ideal time because the person can't do anything back because of their situation. So, what's the conversation between you and him? Because at the end of the day, of course, there's nothing you can tell GlamMa. And if you can't tell GlamMa nothing, I'm pretty sure you can't tell little mama nothing that's dating your son. But you are the parent of somebody in a situation, which is your son. So is there some dialogue that you can have with him regarding this whole situation and how you want to approach this? Because like you said, this is getting serious. It's getting physical. There's allegedly weapons involved. You don't want this to escalate and you're dealing with a crime or perhaps, somebody being unalived. We've seen situations escalate. So I think you could start the situation off with sitting him down and saying, listen, this has escalated to this point and we need to have some dialogue about it. I also would have to ask, where's dad? Where is your son's dad? Because sometimes, when moms are raising their boys and doing an excellent job, and boys always are very, very much, connected to their mom and love them to death, but there's some things and some tools that they may have to get that needs to come from a male. So is dad around? And if dad is around, will he be a part of the conversation that you need to have with baby boy? If dad is not around, I know you said you have other children. Is there an older brother that you maybe could invite into the space? And this is just to have the conversation with him. This is not even about trying to have the conversation with the other side of the in-laws yet. This is about talking to him. Because whether you talk to those other people or not, he needs to be very clear on the severity of this situation. Weapons allegedly being pulled out and stabbings, and these things can escalate and it can get really, really bad. So I think trying to pull him to the side and sit him down to say, what is going on and how do we come to a resolution on your end? Forget about what she needs to do. How do we come to a resolution on your end? Right? So I think starting there, because I think if you get from him what resolution you guys can come to on his end, then you can go and approach GlamMa with some form of solution as opposed to coming to her almost to say, like, what are we going to do? Because really and truly, it's not you and her situation. It's not y'all situation. And if she's all up and through the middle of it, 9 times out of 10, she already know what they're going to do on that side. So you coming to her with a solution from you guys, and it may open up the dialogue to be positive, right? Let me ask a question. I would love to know, if we were face to face, what was going on with the whole, she all up and through and in the middle of a situation. Did that come from him, or is that something you've been privy to? And if it is, have you and her ever had any dialogue about that? Like, yo, the kids is going through so on and so forth. What is going on? I think approaching baby boy has to be very, very honest about the safety of what the hell is taking place, because his ass could be in jail. That's the long and the short of that. As weapons is being pulled, and she has her own set of family members, and people start calling people and things of that nature, that could get ugly. So I think making sure you get with him and share with him, hi, I know you all up in your feelings about little mama, and I know that you stressed out about what's going on, but in order for you to be alive and not in prison, we need to practice some safety measures. What is going on? Do they live together? Does he have to go to her house to see the baby? Does she come over to your house? Do you and the young lady have a good rapport? Also, I know that you shared that you didn't want to involve your older children in approaching GlamMa, which I totally understand, right? But would it be okay for you to involve your older children in having some dialogue with the young man, your younger son? What type of relationship does he have with his older siblings? Is there room to say, yo, Joey, I need you to go talk to Joshua, as opposed to it coming from you. Because maybe he may receive some of the positive feedback about how he should approach his situation before his ass get locked up or, God forbid, unalived. Maybe there's a way for big bro to say it to him to where he can receive it. Or like I said before, dad. I know in my family, we do family meetings. We pull everybody in. We all need to come to the round table because you playing yourself in your wilding. So I think that trying to gather as many folks in your family that you feel is going to make the outcome positive when talking to him would definitely work for you because, again, remember, you want to go over and have the conversation with the other people. 9 times out of 10, when people see you wanting to approach them about what took place, they automatically are on defense because they think you want to play the blame game. Oh, it's my daughter's fault that your son is acting up. You know what I'm saying? So they probably will already be on the defense. Also, if Mama Love or GlamMa is all up in the business, she may already feel like that is what you guys are thinking and feeling. So like I said, if you get a resolution from your son, like, listen, what's going to make you feel safe and what also can you do to make others feel safe in this situation moving forward? When you approach her with that, it can open up the dialogue to be positive. So you can say, hey, you guys, well, let's go back to how this could take place. After you get from baby boy, okay, that's what you can do, then you figure out how you're going to approach her. Now, I don't know if you guys, it seems like you guys may live in the same vicinity, so I don't know if it would benefit you to knock on her door. I don't know if it would benefit you to call her on the phone. I know for me personally, I think face-to-face conversations are always better because then you can see the tone and the mannerisms and the body language of a person and it lets you know what type of vibe they're on. Also, I think that you should go alone and I think that you should talk to her when she's alone. Because what I know about people with their children is they get defensive. So if you're approaching me about a situation about my kid and in front of people, then you make it a little sass and pizzazz out of baby girl, out of GlamMa. And that's not where you're trying to go. Like you said, you're 61 years old. You're not trying to have drama with somebody that could be your fucking kid. So before we go there, maybe if you are going to approach her face to face about it, I would think it would be a better idea for you to go alone and to make sure that she's alone. Right? And then you come with what baby boy said his resolution could be and how you as a parent plan on assisting him with that. Because that's another thing, right? If you coming to me to say that my son said he ain't gonna hit your daughter no more. Okay. I'm sorry, and how are you going to make sure that doesn't happen? Because I'm pretty sure he said that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other times, right? So I think that after you share with her the resolution that baby boy came up with, then you let her know how you're going to partner with him and take some responsibility for him actually making these things happen. Because there's no way for, her to believe that he's going to automatically stop. And it does comfort a person to know that, hey, I'm going to try to help as best I can. But the reason why I ask about your other children, and I'm not saying this to offend you, but at 61 years old, how much can you help an 18-year-old? And their behaviors and mannerisms and so on and so forth. So that's the reason why I said when you're dealing with your young person, to maybe have your other children intervene. They're a little bit more closer to his age. They may know a little bit more about the situation than you. And then they're also very much aware of how young people handle situations like this, right? Whereas, you being an older person, that just may not be something you're aware of. So I think maybe having your young people, your children involved with helping you with your youngest child to say like, okay, well, Joey is going to do so on and so forth, and his brother Joshua is working with him to get that done, right? Because I think it provides some comfort to the mom to say like, wow, they're really trying to resolve this. They're not trying to make this escalate. Now, if GlamMa is a rational person and your approach is of such, then she should be really pretty much on the same page of trying to de-escalate. Because where it went with stabbing and the whole allegedly pulling out the whip, that went too far. So at this point, it's only two things that can happen. It can either escalate or de-escalate. If you're approaching her with de-escalation tactics, then there should be no reason that she's upset, right? Now, granted, she may want to voice her opinion about, I didn't appreciate Joshua and Joey, whatever we want to call them, pulling out a weapon on my child, and so on and so forth. She may totally forget about the fact that her daughter actually stabbed your son. That may be null and void to her because she's in her feelings and she's in her emotions. Okay, which is why you will constantly reiterate, but that is why I sat down with him and we came up with a solution, because we know that you're unhappy about what he did. We're clear on that, right? And because I knew that you would be unhappy about what he did, we came to a resolution to try to make sure that it never happens again from him, right? Because I know, most times people will try to go around what ignited a situation. They only want to deal with the situation. So like I said a few times, she may try to hit you with the what he did, right? When she's forgetting that that was as a result of what her daughter did, right? So after you have presented her with a resolution and she can no longer go around that because you're sharing with her, you guys have an answer for that question, then you can share with her. You can ask her, do you guys have a remedy for how your young lady is going to engage my son without having to be physical with him? Because I have a remedy over here. I just shared that with you. Do you have one? She may not have one. Grandma, I'm here to tell you she may not have one. At that point, right, as an older woman, that may frustrate you, that she has no resolution or she hasn't even had any conversation with her young person on how to fix this on their end, right? The only thing that you could do at that point is request that they try to. That's it, and that's all, Grandma. Because if she's already in her head about what she's doing with her child and that's not conducive to anything positive, there's nothing you can do to change that. So the only thing that you can do is make a request. I'm here giving out information about what I can do. And I'm just here trying to receive some information about what you guys can do, because I want to take that back to my son so we can work this in a way that's conducive to everybody. They're not getting physical with one another. We're all able to see the baby and we can move forward. Now again, you may be met with some pushback. In those moments, you have no control over the way this lady feels about her child, right? You can only control the way you feel about yours and what tactics you've put in place to help your child and also her child be safe. At that point, if she is not open to even reasoning with you, then you have to have the conversation with your son about the reality of his relationship with the young lady. And not the romantic side of it. Because listen, at the end of the day, if he want to sleep with the young lady, he's going to do so. Nobody can stop that, right? I think it's more so on how to co-parent. So when you are in each other's presence and the baby is there, you are not having all of this drama. Now, drama surrounding a romantic relationship, GlamMa can stop that, right? The only thing you are trying to stop is the escalation of them getting physical and definitely jeopardizing the baby. Everybody wants to see the baby. Everybody wants the baby to be safe. Everybody wants everybody to move forward and be able to know how to conduct themselves as grown-up and adults. But these two young people are not full-blown adults. They're two young people who decided to have a baby. And now they're trying to navigate the space of being in a relationship when it does not look like anything other than toxicity is taking place, and neither one of them know how to de-escalate that. The only thing that you can do is work with your baby on his de-escalation tactics. trying to make GlamMa do anything is not going to happen, but you can continue to try to have conversations with her in regards to what you guys are going to do. Now, I heard you say that you don't really want to get your children involved. I don't know, Grandma. I think that might be what's best. And I promise you, I'm not trying to say that I would like for the situation to escalate. But I also feel like your children might be closer to GlamMa's age, so they may know how to talk her language, right? So whereas some of the behaviors and mannerisms that she may present as a younger woman, they may be offensive to you because you're an older woman. So y'all may not be able to see eye to eye. But I think if you let your daughter go, who might be a year or two older or younger than her, and can kind of navigate the space when they're in each other's company, I think that might work. You know? And I think having her try to help them come to a consensus of listen, we are not saying y'all can or can't be a couple. We're just saying it's physical nonsense. It has to stop. And I think if your daughter is going with the same spiel I was giving you, which is, listen, we have some de-escalation tactics on our end. What guys do you have? What de-escalation tactics are you guys trying to present so we can make sure that this really gets de-escalated? It can't be only one person saying, I'm not going to do. They both participated. Also, trying to hear what the young lady has to say. Because she may have a version of the story that you're unaware of from your son, and then you'll also be able to know how to help de-escalate and navigate the space that they're in to try to help them be safe. So there may be a part of a story where it's like, okay, well, he didn't really do this, or I didn't really do that, or I get upset when, you know what I'm saying? And you could say, okay, I can see what's triggering here, and this is what I need to do as a parent of his, as a sibling of his, whatever I am to him. You know what I'm saying? But if you guys don't have the full story, these young people can't be in each other's presence, and you as the adults can't even come together to have this conversation, how do you expect to have any peace and any de-escalation? And also, I take it a step further. You got to figure out if that's these young people want. Is that what they want? Because they may be a toxic couple, God forgive me for saying, they want to fight right and left, up and down, in and out. So it does not matter how many things you guys as the adults put in place to try to assist them in not doing so. This may be exactly what they want. So that's another way that you can approach your son. You know what? Since you hell-bent on telling me that every time you see a number on her phone, you're going to be fighting with her, and every time you see her talking to a guy, you're going to be arguing with her, and every time something takes place, you're going to want smoke. Since you hell-bent on telling me that, my dear, let me let you know the consequences of that. You can be incarcerated. You can, God forbid, be unalived. You can't get the shit beat out you by a family. Like, there are consequences. So if you guys are hell-bent on living this type of lifestyle and nobody can tell you nothing, and that's your girl and that's your baby mom's, okay. Okay, sweetie. The same way that you are old enough to understand actions, you are also old enough to understand consequences, repercussions. So since you want to go back and forth about how you want to handle the situation, we don't have to. Let me just lay it out for you, the good and the bad, the up and the down, the pros and the cons, and then you make whatever decision you have to make. And as a parent, he's 18 from what I understand, then maybe you have to allow him to do so. Because you may be doing all of this conversation about de-escalation and remedies and solutions, and neither one of those young people may even want that. If that's not what they want, you can't force them. So at that point, you know what you say? Okay. So since you're telling me, my dear, that you're going to continue with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what you're telling me. I'm telling you that's perfectly fine by me. Let me just give you what could take place since this is what you plan on doing. And once again, you give the good, the bad, the in, the out, the pros, the cons. And then at that point, you let the chips fall where they may, mama love. Because as much protecting and providing as parents can do for their young people, at some point, they eventually are no longer young people. They are now young adults. And you have to be able to not only trust their decision-making skills, but you have to also be able to witness them make their own decisions. And they can't do that if you're making everyone for them. So it might be time to let baby boy fly. Let's see if he got the wings. So once again, Mom, you make an effort to come up with some solutions and remedies and de-escalation tactics as long as he's on board. And you try to present them to GlamMa and get some from her so you guys can all be on the same page of trying to help this young couple navigate this co-parenting thing safely. But if nobody wants to get on board and nobody is in agreement with, then you do what you need to do for your baby, which is listen, hi, how you doing? You're my child. So let me share with you what could possibly take place in any event that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you give them every possible situation. And after that, you say, I love you. I equipped you with the tools. You got to do what's best for you. I have a saying that I always share with parents when I'm having dialogue with them about their young person. When you come from good, you return to good. Let me say that again. When you come from good, you return to good. So no matter how much your young person might try to stray away or be down or get peer pressured or whatever the case may be, you know, to the outside world, if you raise your young person and you've equipped them with all the tools that they need to be a productive young adult, even when sometimes they stray away from that productivity, they return. They return. Our only prayer is that we hope that it's not too late when they do, right? But they do return. It's what they know. It's their foundation. They're just trying to find their foot and plant it on solid ground. And we as the elders around them cannot keep holding their hands and laying out the carpet for them. Sometimes you have to trust that I've given you all the tools for you to lay out the carpet for yourself and to navigate the way you need to. And when you need help and support and all those other things, you come back to the nest. I got you. But in the meantime, in between time, I need to be sure that I raise you well enough as a young adult to also know that you got yourself. So you give it to them. And you see what you can get. I'm praying that you and GlamMa and her family can get on good terms. But I also really kind of feel like it's really about you and your son and, you know, helping him to become the man he needs to be and the father that he needs to be. Everything else, God will have to take care of. Okay? All right. So I hope I was able to help GlamMa. I know this is hard to hear, but you know, you're an older mom and you know, some of these things might not be relatable to you. You know, you don't know what a GlamMa is, and it's a whole different chapter. I can tell you all about it in your in your Healing Heart session. In any event, thank you for writing your Dear Deidre letter. I truly, truly appreciate it. Once again, if you're new to my channel, you should be hitting the subscribe button. Afterwards, you should be hitting the notification bell so you can get all my videos when I drop them. Now, you should be hitting the thumbs up because that is your free way of supporting the channel. And right now, because you've heard all my feedback for this grandmom, you should now be dropping down in the comment section and giving your feedback about what you think grandma can do or what you think she shouldn't do. In any event, I truly, truly appreciate you guys for tuning in. There will be Lit at 6, Live at 5, Brian McKnight Deep Dive, and we'll get it going. But thank you. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you soon.